Hey there, Stephanie Joy with all things Social Security and the law practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now. On a Journey says, a lot of people are using AI, are against AI usage. That's why people don't want AI looking at medical records. Well, then you better go and erase the last 20 years of your life, because there's been AI for a very long time, guys. It is just now publicly known and publicly available to the little guy. In some ways, it evens the playing field a little bit. It's definitely going to change things like other technologies did, of course. I mean, think about all the different professions that existed 70 years ago that don't exist now because of automation, AI. Computers themselves are AI. So, yeah. I mean, you don't have to use it in your life or anything, but, you can't really stop, I think, others from being more efficient with it, which in theory saves money or hours or does a better job. Delia says, I don't think his, meaning her husband's job of 30 years will be safe for him to return to work. I don't know what his particular issue is, Delia, but if he stops working and a few months go by and he's got some clarity and you want me to take a look at it, let me know. We could, he can contact me or you or whoever. And Delia says, let's chat later. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome, Delia. I appreciate you. John says, thumbs up for you. Sorry, I've been really busy today. I will watch your replay. No worries. Thanks for popping in, John. Super sweet. That's John TB, not the other John. Adam in the house says, Stephanie, what would happen if at my 1 or 3 year review, so he's talking about a CDR, guys, a continuing disability review, for those of you that don't know that term, I'm told, and we have plenty of videos on it, I'm told that I can go back to work. What would happen if I am told I can go back to work, no longer disabled? Would my SSD payments get shrunk back to my normal retirement age of 62? First of all, 62 is not normal retirement age, that's early retirement age. So the amount of years you collect, I think this is what you're saying, Adam. Let's say you lose your SSD. You're no longer collecting SSD. The years that you were collecting are not going to count as zeros into your income calculation for your SSD. Your Social Security primary insurance amount, upon which your SSD is based and your retirement is based, is never going to reduce based on that, because those years of zero work and not paying in Social Security taxes are never going to be counted in the calculation of your thing. Now, what will count is, because your estimation already, which is what you got, which ended up being your SSD amount, because now you're not disabled, they're going to be looking at your top 35 years of work when calculating your PIA, and now you will no longer have any future years as being not included as zeros if you choose not to work because you're no longer disabled. So that can change your calculations. So if you don't, I don't think that's going to happen to you, Adam. I mean, just do your due diligence with your treatment. But if it were to happen, hopefully you can find a way to make some income. You can also make part-time income under SGA and apply again. If you think, like let's say you've got a little weak on your treatment, you're like, oh, shoot, now I have a CDR and I don't have proof that I'm as bad as I was, or that I haven't improved. The fact that I haven't treated, so it looks like I've improved, blah, blah. You can apply again as long as you have an insured status. And the insured status that you had before, that doesn't get used up while you're on disability. So you'll probably still have some time left over. But if you want to extend that DLI, and you guys know all about DLI, and by the way, we do have that thing up and running I was talking about. Clients don't have to worry about this. In fact, we just changed our intake where they do not have to call the SSA to get their date last insured anymore if they can get their earnings statement to us. And then we have a few team members who will go through the numbers and figure out their date last insured for them based on the information they give us. So it's got to be an accurate earnings statement. But for everyone else, it is it's not that expensive. It's just a little one-time fee, and someone will put that hour in for you or whatever it's going to cost and get you your DLI. If you need your DLI, I always think everybody should have it. It's very, very important if you're going to start a case. It's important if you don't know it and you're in a case. You can always call SSA to get it. You could probably call the 1-800 number or the field office. So it's not something you have to pay for to get. It's just if you don't want to do that whole burden of calling the SSA and trying to get it. As far as I know, the DLI is not available online. I don't know why. I feel like it should be. They'll tell you, well, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. The DLI is not. If you have not applied yet and you go get your annual Social Security earnings statement from your SSA.gov account, there's a section that you can look at that says if you became disabled today, you have enough credits. You know your DLI is good today. You just don't know if it's gonna expire next quarter, the following quarter. It's gonna be sorry, Tosh. It's gonna be some quarter in the future. We all have an expiration date on our DLIs, and most of us, if we're still working, we're pushing that out. So it's always 5 years ahead of us. But if you stopped working, it's going to be something short of 5 years. Well, potentially, not necessarily, because you look at a 10-year window. Long story. There's other videos. It's a charting thing we do. It's just basically math. It's not even hard math. It's just that you have to focus and concentrate a lot because you have to backtrack each quarter and see at any given time, do I have 20 quarterly credits in my last 40 quarters? 40 quarters from when I say I was disabled. Now, if you said you're disabled last year, from there and back, did you have the quarters? Okay, then you could go with that date. What about if you lose on that date and now you are like, well, but okay, so at least disabled as of this date. Are you still insured? So it's kind of it's a paper chart, and you literally put in whether it's 3 quarters during that year, 2 quarters, blah blah, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. It's a charting thing. But anyway, we do have, and I was like, could put the page up if I could. If you guys need it, anybody that needs it and wants to order that, you can. All of that goes towards this whole mission as well. It's not part of the regular fee structure we have for keeping the practice otherwise floating and the people paid. All right, for VA on federal judge. For vet, yeah, it's a whole different definition. I have a video on that, Stephen, or 2 or 3. I even did one on the TDIU because it is frustrating for people who are on TDIU to not understand why they are not found disabled. There's a different standard of how they look at evidence and stuff like that. So, and what their finding actually meant is so different. Definitely very different for P&T. People get very surprised, and I'm like, nah, because P&T really doesn't mean you can't work. It's entirely different. Let's see. On TV says, I'm going to sell my blood plasma. Pays $100 each time and can be done twice a week. Really, you do it twice a week? Funny story, if anyone wants to hear it digress. I went to Rutgers undergrad, and I was poor, and I was a freshman, and this is in New Brunswick, living in a dorm, and some dorm mates, a bunch of guys and a couple girls, were going to go donate plasma. It was $15. So this was, keep in mind, I'm old, right? So this must have been in 80. I think it was probably fall of 85. That was when I was a freshman in college. So I graduated high school. So I was a country bumpkin girl. So I just kind of followed them. We took a bus, to go make $15. We took a bus. I think it was to North Brunswick. So the city kids knew how to get around. My schoolmates that were from the town, the city. We donated, took a turn, got a finger prick, in the recliner, donating the plasma. They took out 2 pints of blood. What they did then, I don't know if they still do it now. 2 pints of blood. They put it through a machine, take the plasma out, and give you back your blood. Well, apparently I fainted, or I should say, I didn't faint. I was in a chair, and you're squeezing the ball, and it's pretty relaxing, I guess. And then next thing I know, people are yelling at me and stuff. I had slipped where I was hanging off the thing because I had completely gone. My eyes were open, they said, and lights were out. I guess I lost a little bit too much oxygen with the 2 pints that came out. I'm kind of a short person. I guess that's why. But I'm kind of sturdy, so that was surprising to me. But yeah, and they put your blood back in, and then I went home and I was fine. But pretty funny, huh? Can you believe that? And I've donated blood ever since, but they don't take 2 pints out. They only take 1. So I've always been okay with that, I think. Did I pass that once? I don't remember. But I donate blood pretty regularly, although I will say it's probably been a few years now. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're not on SSI with that, it's funny. That's a good question. If you're on SSI and you sell your blood plasma for $100, you'd like to think that if your blood plasma is worth, you're giving up $100 and you're getting $100, you've made 0 in net income. I'm not saying this as legal advice, guys. I'm just asking the question. Would that be a way? You got $100 cash coming in, though. I can't say it would work, but it's an interesting thought. And for SSD, obviously, you don't have the same constriction. So, and it's definitely not work activity. That's for sure. But with SSI, income in, selling a TV and getting the income in, you're converting your item, including your plasma, into cash, and now it can be used to support you. So I think with SSI, it wouldn't work. I think it would be a problem. Purpose-Filled Life says, thank you and bless you for your help. It can be a nerve-wracking ordeal. I know it is. Just hang in there. Keep learning. And just, persevere through the tough times and just keep your eye on what will help you persevere, I think. Iron's in the house. The VE also said there were no jobs in the national economy I could do. Okay. Again, I'm just going to reiterate that I know you guys like to say the VE said I can't do that. The VE's not talking about you. The VE's talking about the hypothetical that the judge gave them or your lawyer gave them. I get the kind of mix up with that, and I have to keep bringing it up because sometimes there's multiple hypotheticals given to the VE, and they didn't all have all throughout 0 jobs. But I do notice that claimants sometimes grab on the one that's variable and say, see, he found him out. I can't do anything. No, the judge didn't find that you matched that one. The judge could find you matched the one before that he gave the VE. So I just want to always reiterate that. Steven says, okay, I'll go find the video. I'm also subscribed. Thank you. I'm glad you're subscribed, Steven. That's wonderful. Thank you. And thanks for your generosity. Rip says, that's another frustrating thing with the SSA. How can the appeals council say 85% of the cases they review are wrong? The appeals council doesn't say 85% of the cases they review are wrong. That's not the percentage of appeal remands. But federal courts remand so many. Well, here's the thing. The ones that go to federal court, Rip, more often than not, they have an attorney. And the attorney only takes the ones that are got a good chance of winning it. So there's a boatload that are not going to federal court at all, denied it at appeals council, are not good candidates to get overturned at all, and never go to federal court. So you have to think about which percentage attorneys are accepting to go to federal court. And that I think might be what you're missing. And I don't know what the numbers are. They're probably available, maybe. I don't know. So think about it. Appeals court to federal court, if 1% of denied, and I'm just pulling this number out of my yang, if 1% of denied appeals council cases actually get the benefit of going to federal district court, some lawyer thought it was a strong enough case, yeah, I definitely, then there's 99% that probably would not have won at federal district court. Just saying. You follow? So that really the numbers are not as necessarily like you think they are, or as bad as you think they are, because you're not looking at the proper number set. All right. And I only say that because I was a math person. I was a math minor in college. Can you believe it? I wanted to be an actuary because I heard they made a lot of money, and I was a poor girl, but I didn't become an actuary. I was screwing around too much. Anyway, Rip, I hope that did that make sense what I just said? Did you get the picture? Purpose-Filled Life says, function report is for my son, 30 years old, with worsening bipolar and severe anxiety. I'm so sorry, Mama, because I'm a mom, and for all the parents out there, God, what we wouldn't do for our kids, even when they're jerks. You know what I mean? And when they have illness of any kind, it's like, oh my God, what we wouldn't do to take it upon ourselves so they don't have it. It breaks my heart. For the parents, not just for the kids. Should we put a lot of info on question 5 or 6, or keep it simple? So you said he already prevailed, though, right? Well, first of all, the form space speaks to how much your max should probably be. You know what I mean? Like, they give you this much space. Don't be sending 3 books of attachments. Use that space. If that helps. Does that help? I would be talking about the diagnoses. They know the diagnoses, but you could just say when the symptoms are bad and what they do, whether it makes him not able to communicate with other people without being inappropriate, if the anxiety prevents him from leaving home, and the frequency and how durational. Look at his old function report purpose and see what that said. Is he better or is he worse? If he's worse, maybe just say, this part's gotten worse. I wouldn't refer them back to the old one. I would actually kind of more like probably, because I would probably more like use it and then duplicate it, reword it to what's applicable now, and just say, this has gotten worse since 2022 or whenever he was last, terminally disabled. Back then he could sometimes still get out to go to the therapist's office. Now it's entirely telehealth because he can't leave at all, or whatever his symptoms are doing now. That's potentially what you might want to look at and focus on. But I wouldn't do the long. If what you mean by long is extra pages, definitely not. I don't think people should do that at all, period. The trick is getting the salient points that are relevant to that person's impairments that would affect their disability finding in that small space. That means no full sentences are ever needed, guys. You could do like a phrase, a dash, and then like all the things. Don't be looking like you have to write the Queen's English. The Kings. Ranta is in the house. Ranta says, my benefit verification letter was posted today, but at a zero amount. Can you tell me why? I don't know your case, so I can't. I mean, it doesn't sound good. Did you have a case? Did you lose it? Did you win it? Do you know, like, what's your path up to this point? John says, my blood will be full of sawdust. They're going to put it back in you though, right? Because it's funny how we can sell our plasma, but I don't think we can sell our blood, because is that considered like how we can't sell organs? I think it's something like that, right? Are we really selling our plasma, or are we getting paid for our time to donate our plasma? I'm not even sure what the legality is there and the little terminology that has to be used. Because sometimes it's like certain procedures that I will name will be unmentioned because they're a little controversial, very controversial, sadly so. But you can't do a procedure and sell what comes out of that procedure as the income for the person doing the procedure. They can just get paid for the efforts to do the procedure, in theory. Does that make sense? Then they donate those things, or they, make some other way of using the byproducts. It's all terminology, kind of nasty. All right. Purpose says, yes, he's been collecting benefits for 3 years. He's been questioned on adult function report. Yes, it keeps him from leaving home. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Now you just want to hug him and make it all better, right? And we never know how to fix that hurt, Look at his old one. I hope you have all that old stuff. Is his treatment as robust as it was? Does he need more treatment than he had? Has he had things in the last year or two with extra vigorous treatment, like electric this or anything like that? Or did he have to step up therapy from 1 day a week to 2 days a week? Those things can be indicative of not just not improving, but of needing more structure and help, because what was is not even enough now. John's as close as me. Let me know. I'm curious. I'm thinking I might go donate some plasma myself. Think about that. Did you say twice a week? That's like $800 a month. That could pay rent. I don't pay rent, but that's my mortgage. I have a really good mortgage. I am moving now. Then I won't have such a good mortgage. I'm hoping I can get down to a very good mortgage again. But all right, Saint PR. Hi, is there any? Nice to meet you. I don't think we've met. Hi, is there any difference in just receiving a daily activity form only? This is my second time applying with an offset. Do you mean an onset date from April 2023? I have now severe radiculopathy apart from back problems. I'm so sorry, Sam. Difference in what? What do you mean just an daily activity form only? Meaning because you didn't get a work history report? When you applied, if you said you had no jobs in the last 5 years, then there's no work history report to be work history details, because there's no relevant work in the last 5 years that would be relevant to the question of can you do your prior work, because the jobs from 6 years ago don't count. It's to your benefit that actually. In other words, you definitely passed step 4. Now you just work about step 5.